Hello, everybody. All right, so we're trying to teach our kids, our students, how to do things that are foundational, meaning they create the basis for lifelong skill, lifelong fitness. So everyone's talking about lifelong fitness. So what we need to do is create drills and or help with aids that allow us to learn. Remember, we as adults have possibly mastered these movements, but we have to think back and regress a little bit to how can we simplify stuff that we sort of take for granted. Squats and some exercises are those. Jumps are taken for granted a lot of times. We have the skill of the movement, but we also have to understand the sequencing of the movement. So today we're going to go over using a bench as our aid to teach the foundational movement, but also to use as a sequencing event, meaning an aid to help with our sequencing, meaning the proper steps like 1, 2, 3, 4, in order to do the exercises properly. All right, so I have a bench right behind me, and so I'm going to go over there now, and I'm going to show you what I mean. All right, so a lot of kids have difficulty understanding and or trusting the process, so to speak, of sitting backwards into a chair while doing squats. So what they're doing is they're afraid they're going to lose their balance, so they keep their weight forward and they kind of get this half squatted. You'll never get full depth that way. It can potentially be bad on the knees. Your form is never going to allow for great strength training, but they're afraid to take their hips and allow them to sit back into a chair. So we use a bench. I like a bench more than a chair. A box is also a great option if the box height is good. Chairs, because they can slide out from underneath you. All right, so what we do is we stand in front of the bench. I like to have it lengthwise because if I do happen to lose my balance, I fall back. I don't want that happening. I've never seen it happen. I could see it happen. So we do it this way because if I do lose my balance, I fall back onto the bench. Safety over everything, right? So what I want to do is I want to be sitting so that I can actually, or standing so that I can see the bench in between my legs. Because if I'm here, I won't be able to sit back and get onto the bench. So make sure I can see the front edge of the bench. Then I really want to just keep my body upright and now trust the process that I can sit back down. If I can see the bench in between my legs, I will sit onto the bench. Feet about shoulder width apart. Now, from there, I simply stand up. Now you have your squat. So you can add a visual aid of imagine you're holding a barbell, or you can actually have them hold a kettlebell or dumbbells or dumbbells or dumbbells, or you could technically put a barbell on their back. But if I see that bench right there, I can then look ahead and now say sit back onto the bench, and they can simply drop, allow themselves to drop, and they're onto the bench safely. Now, the second step in that process, after they have sat down the first time, is now you tell them to control the descent. So control how slowly and under control. So I'm imagining I'm holding a barbell. I'm going down, I'm slowly controlling it. And I'm trying to prevent any just the flop, as we call it, where you kind of just speed up and flop down. You want to be under control, especially while you're learning the technique. You then learn, practice, and master that very drill. So control the descent after your first couple of reps so that you know you're now doing it properly. Then you just refine. Notice how I just stood up. So now you're just going back down. And I will sit in the same spot as long as I don't move my feet. So if I shuffle my feet, I have to do the start over process of check to make sure the bench is between my legs and I can touch it to make sure. And then if I sit down, I will now sit in the same spot every time. Now, if a kid is having a little bit of difficulty progressing or advancing from there, you can use the bench as just your, or box, as just your, hey, you're gonna do the regular exercise on the bench. I actually love it, to be honest. I personally do my front squats on boxes and benches. It just feels safer, more comfortable. I enjoy the control aspect. So I do them most regularly using these as an aid, but also as an apparatus to just reinforce my strength capabilities. All right? So that's how you can help your kids learn the squat technique. Now, some foundational exercises we use the bench for as well are teaching both jumps and broad jumps. And what do I mean by how do we do that? Well, a lot of times our kids have trouble sequencing with their hands because they just want to get they don't, they are unquite sure when the hands start moving. So what I do is, I tell kids, just sit here comfortably on the bench, swing your hands backwards, and then as soon as your hands get up to the knees, you're gonna take that momentum and jump straight up. Because our jumping technique is set the hips. If we're sitting, our hips are already set. Set the hips, swing back, and then as we clear our knee, that's when the forward upward momentum happens. Okay, so your hand swing forward, you jump upwards. So, one more time. Swing the hands, swing forward and up. All right? Now, I can make that a little bit more developmental for body control and do one of our favorite exercises, which is actually a plant jump. So what I will do is I will put my hands here, or my feet in the air, swing my hands back, plant and go. So ready? Feet in the air, plant and jump. That was a poor version of a jump, but you understand what I mean. Okay, so a little bit more complicated if they're ready for it, because now the sequencing has to be feet, hands, go. So we're adding a more technique or more steps, but while we do the plant part, we're getting a little bit of ab work, contraction through bracing. We have to control our body so that we don't just fall back, but we go feet, down, arms, up. So ready? Feet, arms, up. Okay, that would be called a plant jump as we use it. Then I can use the same skill or the same arm swing to teach broad jumps. So I can keep my feet planted. I'm going to swing my arms, and instead of going up, I'm going to use my momentum to take me forward. This helps with learning broad jumps. Landing safely and under control. I can do the same foot technique of plant skills of up, plant, swing, jump. Now notice when I jump, I drop the anchor to get in proper landing position, aka athletic ready position. I don't want to be too far forward. I don't want to be too far up. I want to be athletic and under control. Always athletic and under control. All right, so one more time. The plant version, plant, swing, forward jump. All right, so those are three things that we can use a bench for, which are going to help develop the skills of their physical literacy. They're going to help develop foundational, lifelong fitness movements and the basis for a lot of the things they're going to be doing for the rest of their lives. I'm nearly 50 and we still do jumps. I did the plant jumps Saturday. Why? Because they're an amazing exercise. They're good for conditioning. They're good for power. They're great for body control. I still want to set my foundation and learn and relearn and relearn and repractice and remaster sequencing. Those are skills that we do throughout our lives. Like I said, lifelong fitness. Physical education classes are skill development, lifelong fitness classes. All right, and that's what we're shooting for. All right. If you have any questions, please comment. If you really like what we're doing, please share so that your colleagues can see this as well. Maybe some of your students will see it and start to get the ideas going of how they can use it on their own, maybe on the weekends or their after school programs, stuff like that. The more people who see this, the more that you comment and share, we can get a larger audience seeing the benefits of learning how lifelong fitness starts in PE class. All right, thank you. That's all I have. You guys go out, be awesome, be amazing. I'm Spencer Aiken as usual. Thank you.